Good evening. This is November 30th, 2020. It's hard to believe we've reached the last day of November and that we've only got one more month in the year. Hope everybody's having a good day. November 30th on the church calendar is the Feast of St. Andrew. And St. Andrew, also called Andrew the Apostle, was the brother of Simon Peter. And according to the Orthodox tradition, the apostolic successor to St. Andrew is the Patriarch of Constantinople. The Roman Catholic Church claims that Peter was the first Bishop of Rome. And the Bishop of Rome, of course, became known as the Pope. The Eastern Orthodox churches claim that Peter's brother Andrew became the first Bishop of Constantinople, who became known as the Patriarch. It was in 1054 that there was a schism between East and West that was not healed until the 1960s. And both Simon Peter and Andrew were fishermen by trade. Hence the tradition that Jesus called them to be his disciples by saying that he will make them fishers of men. At the beginning of Jesus' public life, they were said to have occupied the same house at Capernaum. And in the Gospel of John, it states that Andrew was a disciple of John the Baptist. And influence of John the Baptist, the testimony first led Andrew and another unnamed disciple to follow Jesus. Andrew is at once recognized Jesus as the Messiah. He hastened to introduce him to his brother, Peter. The Byzantine Church honors him with the name of Protokletos. In Greek, that means the first called. Thenceforth, the two brothers were disciples of Christ. But Andrew is sometimes referred to as the first Christian because he came to follow Jesus first, and then he brought his brother in the same relationship with Christ. On a subsequent occasion, prior to the final call to the apostolate, they were called to a closer companionship. And then they left all things. They left their nets, everything behind, in order to follow Jesus. In the Gospels, Andrew is referred to a number of other places. He was present on some important occasions. He told Jesus about the boy with the loaves and fishes. When Philip wanted to tell Jesus about certain Greeks seeking him, he told Andrew first. Andrew was present at the Last Supper, and he was among the 4 disciples who came to Jesus on the Mount of Olives to ask about signs of Jesus' return at the end of the age. Eusebius, the father of church history, that's Eusebius of Caesarea, he quoted the church father Origen as saying that Andrew preached in Scythia. The Chronicle of Nestor adds that he preached along the Black Sea and the Dnieper River as far as Kiev, and from there he traveled to Novgorod. Hence, he became the patron saint of Ukraine, Romania, and Russia. According to Hippolytus of Rome, Andrew preached in Thrace, and his presence in Byzantium is mentioned in the apocryphal Acts of Andrew. According to tradition, he found the See of Byzantium, later known as Constantinople, and finally as Istanbul, founded in AD 38. Some of you may have heard the song. It goes way back. Uh, Istanbul was Constantinople. Now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople. Still, it's Turkish delight on the moonlit night. Every girl in Constantinople lives in Istanbul, not Constantinople. So if you have a date in Constantinople, she'll be waiting in Istanbul. They asked, why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks. That's an old song. But it went from Byzantium, the name of this city, to Constantinople after Emperor Constantine, and finally, as a Muslim city, Istanbul. But allegedly, Andrew established the See of Byzantium, installed Stachys as bishop. This diocese would later develop into the Patriarchate of Constantinople. The Greek Church still uses that name. Andrew, along with Saint Stachys, is recognized as the patron saint of the Patriarchate. Basil of Seleucia also knew of Apostle Andrew's missions in Thrace, Scythia, and Achaia. Andrew is said to have been martyred by crucifixion at the city of Patria in Achaia. Early texts, such as the Acts of Andrew, known to Gregory of Tours, describe Andrew as bound, not nailed, to a Latin cross of the kind on which Jesus is said to have been crucified. Yet a tradition developed that Andrew had been crucified on a cross in the form known as the Crux decusata, that is, X-shaped cross, or saltire, known commonly now as St. Andrew's Cross. And the iconography of the martyrdom of Andrew, showing him bound to an X-shaped cross, does not appear to have been standardized until the later Middle Ages. But St. Andrew's Cross appears on a number of flags, including that of Scotland. And Andrew is the patron saint of several countries and cities, including Barbados, Romania, Russia, Scotland, Ukraine, Sarzana, Pienza, and Amalfi in Italy, Eusqueria in Portugal, Lucca in Malta, Paranak in the Philippines, and Patras, formerly Petrea, in Greece. He is also the patron saint of Prussia and of the Order of the Golden Fleece. He is considered the founder and first bishop of the Church of Byzantium, and is consequently the patron saint of the Ecumenical Patriarchate of Constantinople. The Apostle Andrew is also the patron of the Russian Navy. So he's revered by a lot of different countries, a lot of different institutions. I was mentioning a while ago about the Great Schism of 1054, in which the leaders of Eastern and Western Christendom excommunicated each other. It was on January the 6th, 1964, that Pope Paul VI met with the patriarch, I believe his name was Athenagoras at the time, at Jerusalem. They met at the Mount of Olives and got a lot of publicity, which they expressed regret for the years of of hostility and misunderstanding. And it was in September of 1964 that Pope Paul, as a gesture of goodwill toward the Greek Orthodox Church, ordered all the relics of St. Andrew that were in Vatican City to be sent back to Patras. And his message was, St. Peter presents to you his brother. On December 7th of 1965, the Pope, being at St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, the Patriarch at his cathedral in Istanbul lifted the excommunication that went back to 1054. And so this day is an important day. In many countries in Scotland, many countries with Scottish connections, St. Andrew's Day is marked with a celebration of Scottish culture, although there's no evidence that St. Andrew ever visited Scotland. But they celebrate with traditional Scottish food and music. In Scotland, the day is also seen as the start of a season of Scottish winter festivals encompassing St. Andrew's Day, Hogmanay, and Burns Night. There are week-long celebrations in the town of St. Andrews and some other Scottish cities. So anyway, be that as it may, I wish everybody a blessed St. Andrew's Day. And as with so many of the saints, we focus on the social side. A friend of mine, for example, last year had said he always assumed that St. Patrick was an Irishman, an alcoholic, and his favorite color was green. As far as we know, none of that's true. He was not Irish, but he was sent by God to bring Christianity to the Irish, to the Emerald Isle. And St. Patrick was a very holy man, a very good role model for Christians today, and all that is forgotten in all the stuff that goes on at St. Patrick's Day. And I'm sure that St. Andrew's Day is not that big a deal worldwide, but I'm sure a lot of people who celebrate don't know who the man was. He was the first Christian. He brought his brother Peter to Jesus, and thus he should be a role model to all of the disciples of Jesus Christ, that we need to bring others in, that God's house might be full. Have a happy St. Andrew's Day.